Hello, hello, we are live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Mari, and I'm with my friend, Mycora.
Hello.
And today, we are going to be continuing our lesson in how to make a VTuber model with Live2D Cubism. This is part 5. That's right, 5 of our tutorial series. Oh boy. I would like to just state that you can download the Live2D file example of Basechan. It is free. You can find the link in the description or scan the QR code. I know that me and my car are in the way, so give me one moment here. Boop. Click on the link or scan the QR code. It's free.
Wee.
All right, time's up for that. Now you'll have to go back into the VOD or something for that. Alrighty, here we go. Okay. So today, I will explain the concepts of the pendulum in the animation window. Don't worry, you'll understand what that means in a moment. I'm going to showcase some examples of different animation styles, like how someone was asking in a previous lesson, how do you make yourself lean forward and then move your body from the side to side? Examples of like that, which would be called like augmentation, how to have a bouncy, super fluid model and have elegant movements. And then I'm going to be demonstrating the basics of both the body, which is the breathing parameter, like how to look like you're breathing, and have eye physics.
Ooh.
So this is a little bit of an introduction to the animation or the physics settings. This looks like a lot, but don't worry. We will go through like these settings in a little bit. These are just some pendulum concepts in the animation window, which I'm kind of in the way. Well, my core is in the way, so let me... That little thing that you see right here, this is the pendulum. And I definitely forgot to change this title up here, so just ignore that. I want a time crunch. So here are some different settings that are in the animation window here. We have the pendulum settings, we have the normalization of inputs, and then we have like our output settings. So the normalization of input, what that means is it's literally taking the data, the information of your actual face tracking, like when you move your face around, that data is translated into your output in either VTube Studio or VBridge or whatever application you're using. The minimum, center, and maximum is just kind of like how much of an angle of your face and like the actual position of where your face is located based off of your camera. You can control how much of that it accepts as the inputs. So if you don't want it to take too much of your head turn to like strong, you can limit the input of that, so that way it would only take the input of your face slightly or something like that. A lot of like nuances that you can do with this. It's a much more advanced setting, but it's okay. You can still do some things for like beginner concepts. The output setting is a little bit more straightforward. It takes whatever you put as the input. So let's say you have like eye blink, for example, and the output gives a desired effect, like your eyelashes wiggling every time you blink, for an example. And then the pendulum settings, I'll explain a bit more of what's the duration, shaking, and reaction overall acceleration means as we get into our Live2D rigging activity. So a little showcase example of like what you can do with physics to get different animation styles. I'm actually going to use myself as an example for this because the way this model is rigged, let me get up here. Hi! This model is very special because of how it was rigged. I did not do the rigging for this. Chamomile did this. So shout out to Chamomile, phenomenal Live2D modeler. And I'm going to show you an example of what you can do with physics. So you see how when I turn my head, my whole body kind of turns with my body? Now watch what happens if I press this. You see what I did here? Now my body is moving opposite of where my head is turning. That's not all I can do. Let me press that button back. So, okay, my body is moving with me, right? because we talked about this in a previous lesson about how your body movements reflect on your face input here. Watch this. So when I like tilt my head, you see how my body kind of like leans the same way as me? When I press this button, you see how it's different?
Oh.
So now I'm following myself again, and now I'm not. And this is what happens if I press both of those buttons, because you see how like I'm tilting, but my body is still going. Now if I press this other button, looks a little cursed because who moves their body like this? But you could do this if you wanted to. And yeah, these are really fun things that you can do with physics. And then you see how bouncy my whole body moves and like my arms and everything. That's kind of what you can do with your model. And you can do some really crazy things with physics. You don't have to just what's it called? You don't have to just do that. You can also do toggles with like your hands. You can also do this.
Cute.
A transformation sequence if you wanted to. You can also like take off my jacket and stuff too. But this is the power of physics. Physics can be used for so many different things besides like moving your body as well. It can have so many different effects. Oops, here, let me just readjust myself. And don't get me wrong, I would love to show you how to do all of that stuff, but we're doing very simple stuff today. So, we're just gonna focus on eye physics, and then I'll do like a body type of breathing parameter for us as well. So we'll have a little bit of like breath movements. So with that, Mike, are you ready to get right into it? We are waiting. All right, so. And it's cool that I have two different models. Yeah, I have a couple different models. I don't want to talk about that. So instead, let's get right into Live2D Cubism here. Let's open up the application. Okay. Share my screen here. Okay, so physics. First, we're going to make a deformer for our iris. And we're going to name it eyeball XY because remember what I said in the previous lesson? We haven't actually rigged our eyeballs. Like, we have to make our eyeballs move in order for us to have some more physics. We've already done the blinking in a previous lesson, but we haven't actually moved our eyeballs. And this is very easy, very fast. And so we're gonna make the little parameters here, and we're just gonna move our eyeball, or our iris, I should say. We're gonna move it over. And then we're just gonna reflect that motion. Boom, you're done with eyeball X.
Oh.
Now we're gonna do eyeball Y. Basically just moving it up and down. So we're gonna add some keys to the eyeball Y parameter. We're just gonna move it up and down. And this is where you could reflect vertically, but I'll just do it manually. We're literally just moving it up and down. And then we're going to synthesize the four corners for the eyeballs really quickly. And there we go. We got a working eyeball.
Yeah.
Okay, and now that we got this working, we're going to give this eyeball a little bit more depth. So when our eyeball moves around, we're gonna make like our eyelash and our eyelid move. Like I'll show you what I mean by that in a second here. Because technically, if you think about it, when you close your eyes and you move your eyes around in your eyelid moves. If you just watch someone like when they're like, well, okay, maybe you don't watch people sleep, but like if you look at people when they're sleeping and their eyes are closed, you'll notice when they're moving in REM sleep, the thin layer on their eyelid will move too. So we have to make Base Chan's eyelid move a little bit. So just make a new deformer for all of the other eye elements, and we call it lashes XYL. And I'm going to adjust the deformer and add more Bezier divisions because I want the little crosses to form a square around the eye so it's easier to deform. And looking at the VTuber software behind the scenes is very interesting. I am currently here with my Cora who's helping me. I'm teaching her the ways of Live2D.
Yes, the ways.
We've come a long way with all of these lessons.
We really have.
Alright, we're just gonna move these out a little bit because again, when your eyeball is moving, your like upper eyelash is gonna... Actually, let me remake this deformer. So I'm gonna grab all of these eye pieces here. And then we're gonna name this lashes XYL. Increase the Bezier division numbers. Use Control to adjust the deformer to get the cross shape here. Okay. It's okay to make it a little bit bigger. Okay. All right. And now we can take this deformer. And we're going to connect it to our eyeballs. So now when the eye moves over to the side like this, we're just going to slightly bring it out and up. Just like that. You see how it slightly moves a little bit with the eyeball? We're actually going to increase the number of conversion divisions to get a bit more control. There we go. And now we're going to move it back. I'm doing it manually instead of reflecting because something like this needs a bit more fine-tuning. Let me see here. Okay. Now we're going to do for looking down, because technically your bottom lid would move down a little bit. And you don't have to do super big movements for this. This is like very small movements. And now when we look up, we're going to make the lid go up just a little bit and protrude up and outwards. And then we're going to synthesize the four corners for this. And now look at that. See? Your eyeball moving. She looks kind of derpy. That's okay. it's just minor movements. Minor movements. Okay. So now we're going to add more physics for this. Actually, I'm going to move the eye over a little bit more. And I have to resynthesize the corners here for the eyeball. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Now that's an eyeball. Okay, so now we're going to add more physics for this. So we're going to have to make a new deformer for the lashes XYL, and we're going to name it Lashes Wiggle L. Can you guess what we're going to do for it? You see, this is why it's really important to be super clear when you're naming everything. So that way you don't get confused on what it is you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And for this, because this is a brand new physics that we're going to add to this, we have to make a new parameter for it. Because the default parameters when you load in the Live2D Cubism application doesn't come with this. When it comes with physics, anything that you want to do, anything that you want to make wiggle and bounce and move and toggle, you have to make your own parameters for. And I believe this is why having like the pro version is really nice, because you don't have any limitations on this. It doesn't really matter which folder I put it in, to be honest. I honestly didn't have to change the eyes and I probably could have kept it all in one folder. Whatever. All right, so we're gonna make a new parameter and we're going to name it exactly what it says, Lashes Wiggle L. I'm also gonna name the ID like that because the ID is what will show up in VTube Studio if I ever need to find it for whatever reason, makes it easier. And for the minimum, I'm going to make it -1 and then 1. Because it's a small adjustment. Like, we're just making small adjustments. So the minimum and the maximum outputs don't need to be that large. And now we're going to make our keyframes for this deformer. Don't worry, you all can just kind of follow along with me. And then for this, what we're basically going to do is we're going to take the lashes here and we're going to make it look like it's drooping down just a little bit. I gotta redo that. Start at the bottom. We're just making it look like the lashes are drooping a little bit. And then on this keyframe, we're gonna make it go up. So that way it's going arched up like that. There we go. A little bit of a wiggle effect here. Yeah. You don't have to go too crazy with this. Okay, after that, we're gonna start linking that little droop effect that we had just done. We're gonna link it to our eye blinking in the physics menu. So we're finally gonna get into the physics settings. Okay, don't be scared. Actually, wait, I don't have automatic eye blinking enabled, so hold on, we gotta go to the hamburger sign under the parameter palette. Where's the setting? Settings for eye blinking and lip syncing. Okay, and I have to check box the eye blinking. So IL open, IR open, and then press OK. Okay, now we can go back into the physics settings. And now it should automatically start eye blinking for us. Any moment now. There we go. Okay. Now, she blinked her eyes, but nothing happened. So that new special eyelash wiggle, we have to add that in here. So how do we do that? We click on the add button. Actually, I'm going to change this to 60 FPS. And now we're going to press the add button. And now we're going to add a new physics group and name it Lashes Wiggle L and then press OK. And don't worry about the input presets or physics model presets. If you had like presets from before, especially if you're rigging the same model and you're adding like new toggles to it, this just makes it a lot faster for it. And there are some pretty good presets that Live2D has as well, depending on what it is that you're doing, but you don't have to worry about that. We'll just add it manually on our own. Okay, so now we're gonna go to this box here by the inputs, and we're going to select input, select our IL open, press OK. And then we're going to go over to the effectiveness and type in 100 and then press enter. So that means every time our left eye blinks, this specific effect that we're about to add will be affecting our eye every time it blinks by 100%. I know it sounds redundant, but you'll see what I mean when we add in the rest of the stuff. Now we need to add 2 pendulums over under the pendulum settings down here. And the reason why I'm adding 2, because I could just add 1, is this specific effect, I want to have a staggering effect on it. So we're gonna add 2 pendulums. And all you gotta do is just press the add button twice on the pendulum settings. And for these values underneath the pendulum settings here that I had shown in my PowerPoint, you don't have to worry about it just yet. So let me just grab my drink right here, and then we'll add the pendulums. Now here comes the fun part. Also, for YouTube chat, I do see you. I think for this stream, it somehow got broken when I had made the waiting room, so I apologize. If your comments are not showing up, I can see them, though. I appreciate y'all being here with us today. Okay, so I added the 2 pendulums here. And like I said, don't worry about these effects underneath the pendulum settings just yet. We'll change them in a moment. Basically, these numbers, we change them to get like a different effect after we add our outputs. You see how there's like an actual pendulum here? It like actually moves, and you can see the effects of how it's moving right now.
Oh, wait, that's so cool.
Yeah, and so these values that we see on the left-hand side, we can adjust them, and as you can see how there's like a staggering effect, 'cause I added 2 pendulums. It will change. Like you see how like the bottom one wobbles a bit more, it has a lingering effect. And so, like, the idea behind it is that the duration... actually, I'll explain in a second here. Because what we're going to have to do first is... we'll have to go to our output settings. So earlier in my PowerPoint, I had said the output gives us that desired effect that we have to select. And that is going to be based off of the input of our IL open. So here, go to the output settings. We're going to select that brand new parameter, Lashes Wiggle L. The effectiveness is at 100. The scale is at 1 because we only did minimum, maximum to 1 anyways. And now look at the eyeball, or the left eye.
Oh.
You see how it wiggles?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually need to adjust it a little bit because I think it's wiggling a little too much. I don't think naturally your eyes, when you blink, they wiggle for that long. And as you can see, when base chan starts to blink, you can see how the lashes wiggle, but of course, it's way too strong, and that's why adjusting the numbers over here in the pendulum settings is going to come into play. So let me explain these settings real quick. The duration on the pendulum means how long the effect is going to last. And since I have 2 of them, right now it's at 10 seconds for the first half of the effect, and then another 10 seconds. So overall, roughly 20-ish seconds until the animation finishes. The shaking influence means how much the effect wiggles and shakes. Usually this setting is the setting that people like to mess around with to get like that jelly, bouncy looking effect.
Mm-hmm.
And typically with the shaking influence, you don't want it to be that strong unless if you're trying to get super jiggly, jelly looking eyes. Usually that's where you want it to be stronger, but for other body movements, you'll lower it. And I'm probably going to lower this one too because I think that it's shaking it's a little too jelly right now on the eyelashes for me. And then the reaction time is how long it takes before the effect will start happening and will start moving. So if you delay the reaction time, it's gonna, while that duration is happening, that 10-second, 20-second duration, it's not going to react just yet. But if you make it shorter, the moment the effect starts to take in place, the reaction time is immediately gonna start working. And then the overall acceleration will speed up the effect to make sure it completes its duration in time. So if you have an effect that is taking in place in 20 seconds and you delay the reaction time so it doesn't start react until like 5 seconds in, then the overall acceleration value is basically the rest of the time after it had started the effect. Words are hard right now. It speeds up the process to make sure that the effect completes before the duration like ends. So you have to like tweak all these values until you get like the desired effect that you're looking for. And it takes a lot of like just time. The more you work in the physics window, the better you'll understand it. Sometimes just working with it is a little bit easier said. Not easier said. Easier done than said. So like these settings pretty much all affect each other in like the physics window, and like this is kind of how you can get different types of effects and animations that will show up in VTube Studio later. There's also the reflect button here, and what the reflect button does is it reflects the motion. So like it's really good when I was doing this earlier, how my body changes. This is how you would use the reflect option. So right now when my body follows itself, it goes. But if I reflect it, that's what I'm toggling. I'm toggling the reflect physics option, which is how my body moves in opposite directions. That's kind of how that works.
Okay.
So I'm adjusting these values right now because it is way too jelly-like for me. Yeah. Okay. Kind of like that a bit better. Maybe make the reaction time a little bit faster. And speed up the overall acceleration. And do you see how like the pendulum is actually changing as I'm changing these values?
Mm-hmm.
So it's starting up right away, but then it still has a little lingering effect here. Yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Keep in mind that the effects showing up in the physics settings is always going to look a little bit more exaggerated than how it actually looks in VTube Studio. So it's okay to make it a bit more extreme. Sometimes I have to just kind of stare at it for a little bit just to kind of see how I like it. Sometimes I like to go in the physics settings and just kind of stare at the model. It's blinking. Yeah, okay, I do like that. Yeah, okay. Making sure it doesn't bug out, because sometimes in the physics settings it bugs out a little bit, but I think it's okay. All right, so now that this is done, we're going to do the exact same thing, but for the smaller eyelashes, the mini lashes of the eye. And then after that, we're gonna squish the iris a little bit, so that way when our eye closes, our iris will like squish and expand. And then after that, we'll copy and flip the eye over so we can save ourselves some time. That's kind of like all the eye physics we're going to do for today.
Okay.
So we got to make a new deformer for the iris and name it iris scale L. And then we have to make a new parameter for it. You're thinking about making Bass-chan the first bass guitar VTuber. You know, actually, there are some Live2D modelers who rig instruments and you can implement hand tracking so that way your model can actually play instruments. It's really cool. And there's also like lip syncing and other like new features in VTube Studio that you can make in Live2D Cubism, but we're not covering any of that today. All right, so we gotta make the new parameter, name it iris scale L. I'm gonna fix the ID to match it because I hate it when people don't match the IDs. It just keeps everything tidy. Okay, and for this one, we're going to make a -30 and 30 because we want a very slow movement for this specific effect. Whereas the other one was a very quick movement. That's why it was -1 to 1, because your eye blinks are very fast. But by expanding the minimum and maximum, this effect is going to be a lot slower. Hopefully that kind of makes sense, because I know like when we were talking about like the inputs, it's really hard to like have your tracking program understand the input of your what's going on inside your eyeball after you close your eyeball. So this is how we can have more control over the iris like squishing and expanding, because technically when you close your eyes, they're kind of like pressing in on like your eye like a little bit. Plus it's just a really cool anime effect, so you know. Okay, so for this, the way this effect is going to work is that we're going to squish it clockwise and then we're going to squish it counterclockwise. So we'll move like the Bezier divisions in a clockwise motion and then squish it in. And then on the other side, we'll expand it and move it counterclockwise. Sorry for the yawn. We've been doing this. And make sure you all hydrate and stuff too. And stretch. It's very important when you're on your computer modeling for hours and hours and hours. Take breaks, please. Okay, so I'm gonna squish this in to the left side. And then we have to start moving this clockwise? I get these confused sometimes. Clockwise, yes. And Witty, thank you so much for subscribing at T1. Thank you. Thank you. There we go. Yes. Squish. Nice. Okay, all right. Now we'll go to the other keyframe and we're going to expand it. And then we will move counterclockwise. I hope I'm doing that right. Basically just follow along with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Now, it's going to look a little weird, but that's okay. Because remember, it's okay to exaggerate since we know it's not going to be this heavily deformed in VTube Studio. Plus, we don't have a lot of eye elements for Bass-chan. It's literally just this iris. So we don't have to worry about little eye details because this would take way longer.
Yeah.
Yeah. We technically don't have a pupil either, so we don't have to really worry about that either. Okay, so now that we have that effect, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go back into the physics menu and we're going to connect this new effect that we had just done to our eye blinking again. I'm sure you probably noticed every single time you add like a new physics, you have to go back into the physics window, and depending on what it is you're connecting it to, you have to then connect it to that input, which is why you have to make a new physics group setting. This is why presets come in handy later on, especially for clothing and stuff and hair. Saves you a lot of time. We don't have any of that because Base-chan's bald and she doesn't have a lot of clothes, so. Okay, so we're gonna name this one iris scale L. Gonna add the input, which is the IL open again. Set the effectiveness to 100. And go to out. Oh wait, hold on. I can't add. Yeah, I can't add that until you add a pendulum. Okay. Now we're gonna find iris scale L. Press OK. Okay. Now you're gonna notice that the effect isn't really working, and that's because our minimum and maximum for that parameter was -30 and 30. So we need to increase our scale on the output section here, and increase that to like 30 or 20 if you don't want that much of an effect. This is how you kind of control that effect, because like the input settings for your eye tracking details can't predict what your eye is doing. So this is how you control that. Okay, now let's look. See how it's working now? The little squish and expand.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, this looks pretty good as is. I don't think we need to adjust the pendulum at all. I kind of like it. Yeah, honestly, this looks good. And like I said, it's okay if it exaggerates a little bit, because in VTube Studio, it's not going to be this exaggerated. And again, to each their own. It does depend on your like your animation style and like the style of the art too, and how bouncy or smooth you want it to be. So now that we finished that, we can do our last physics for the eyes, which is our mini eyelash wiggle. So we gotta select all of the eyelash elements once again and make a new deformer. You name it mini lashes wiggle L. Press create. And then we gotta make a parameter for it. Name it the same exact thing. Name, let's see here. Name the ID so I don't go insane. And this one is gonna be a small movement, so we're gonna make the minim maximums -1 and 1, because it's just a small, quick movement. And then we're gonna add 3 keyframes to this. And basically all we're gonna do for this is we're just gonna make the little tiny eyelashes move up and down. Apocalapex, thank you so much for the bits. Regarding your post on YouTube yesterday, F the negative people we love. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah. Sometimes like when you put a lot of love into your content, you hold it really close to you, and like sometimes like some people, they don't appreciate that, and like it can really bum you down. And trying to remember that there are people who do enjoy this content and appreciate like stuff like this, it keeps me going, you know? So I appreciate the kind words. Thank you. So it's no wonder that a detailed model plus extra toggles can get very expensive. Yes! You see how we only did like 3 physics for the eyes? And how long this is taking us?
Yeah.
Imagine the other physics that you can do that we are not covering for today. Like, I'm just trying to give us just a little taste of physics, because there's a lot we could do. Make sure you all hydrate as well too. And Frost, thank you so much for subscribing as well. Thank you. Don't drop the keyboard.
I forgot I had my phone in my lap. I was so focused and it fell.
It's okay. Okay, so now we gotta attach this to our eye blinking. And yes, we do have to make a separate group for this. So we got the inputs. We got the effectiveness up to 100. We added our pendulum. Now we go to the output, add that in. Go to mini lashes wiggle. And look at that. Look, the eyelashes are wiggling!
Yeah!
And honestly, that looks kind of good by default.
Yours looks a lot better than mine, but that's okay.
It's okay.
That's okay. Mine's unique.
Exactly. Exactly. You can never get the same rig unless you copy and paste it, which is what we're about to do in a moment here to copy the eye. I will say this. So I did mention a moment ago, I'm making new physics groups for each little thing. I technically could have combined the mini lashes wiggle and the big lashes wiggle if I wanted to. I could have put that in the same group settings. And that's why having multiple pendulums can be useful, because those multiple pendulums would affect those group settings. And the way that would work is the first pendulum would affect the lash wiggles L, and the second pendulum would affect the mini lashes wiggle L, and it kind of would like blend together. That is a much more advanced topic, which is why I am not covering that for today. That's why I'm just making them separate so I have more control over the desired effect. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to copy and paste our eye to the other side. So we're going to select all of our eye elements. We have to make sure everything under the eye container is expanded, so that way it copies over correctly, because if you don't have everything visible and expanded, it is not going to copy over. So we're going we're going to Control C, Control V. Okay. And now we're going to right click and click reflect. And now the only thing we want to checkbox on this is going to be our eye X, which is our eyeballs looking left and right, because we want to make sure when we reflect I don't know how else to explain it other than like it just doesn't work right. Like the eyeball just won't move correctly. It will look cursed.
Yeah.
So you have to reflect that part. And now I'm going to rename this to IR so I don't get confused. And let's see here. Apocalypse. I hope I'm saying your name right. Can't call you Apoca. Thank you so much for gifting a T1 sub. Yes, 150 sub go. Let's go. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you. I think this is right. I'm just gonna delete the other eye elements. Since we copied that eye over, we don't need those containers anymore. So we're just gonna delete our other eyeball. Okay. Now you see, this is why you had to reflect the eyeball X, so that way it moves in unified motion. Otherwise, they would move opposite. I'm just double checking to make sure these are, in fact, working properly, which they are. Now I just gotta delete the other eye containers, because obviously we don't need that other eye anymore. Just call you Apo. Okay, I got you. And Stefan, thank you so much for the super sticker. That is adorable. Is that like a new sticker they have for the New Year's? YouTube stickers are so amusing. I love that. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Thank you for the Akka super sticker. Thank you. I'm glad you guys are all enjoying the educational stream. I don't get to do them too often on here, but when I do, we go ham. Bet you weren't expecting me to be so big brain sometimes. Well, it only happens once a year, so. All right, so I found the other eye container here. I'm gonna delete all of that. Oh wait, hold on. I don't want to delete that one. See, this is why naming everything is very time consuming, but it's so worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And there is like a way to like quickly name ID everything too in Live2D Cubism. Like there's like a special feature to rename stuff, but I'm not gonna focus on that because I know we're on a time constraint today. And then, and now that we have the new eyeball that has been copied, everything that's on both of our eyes is attached to the same parameters, and we don't want that. We want to take everything that's on the right eye and move it towards the right eye parameters. And what that also means is we're gonna have to make new parameters for all of our physics. And that's easy, you just duplicate it. I'm just gonna rename it. Just gonna duplicate, rename. Duplicate, rename it. Okay, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna select everything from our copy and pasted eye. And basically what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to go to every single parameter that was on the left eye and then change it to the right eye parameter. It's not hard, it just takes a little bit of time. So just bear with me as I go through each and every one of these because I wanna make sure it's all connected to the right eyeball. You don't care what we're doing on stream? I'm glad. Honestly, it's always nice to have people who just want to hang out and vibe, you know? That's probably why my core and I get along so well.
Yeah.
Okay,
You
now
be vibing a lot.
pretty much, yeah. And just kind of follow along with what I'm doing, because I'm trying to focus to make sure I don't put this on the wrong parameter. If you notice, there's a lot of parameters that we've made.
Yes, a lot.
And you know what's crazy? This is just a chibi model, and technically, this isn't a lot of parameters. Like, we don't have any hair or anything like that, and clothes,
Yeah.
or ears and tails. Also on YouTube, we just got rated by Midi. Hello, welcome, Midi. We are doing some Live2D rigging. This stream is sponsored by Live2D Cubism, so I'm just going over some physics stuff. We're actually almost done for the eyes. I just gotta double check to make sure everything is on the right parameter. So I think I gotta go through each individual one here. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to do that. That's fine. You're gonna be doing some rigging today. Yay! This is part 5 of my entire tutorial series. I have all of my tutorials on my YouTube channel, on the Yume channel. And I do edit these down a little bit to be a little bit shorter for like a video. But yeah, welcome to the live stream. I really like working with Live2D Cubism. I feel like it's a really powerful tool. And I still don't know the entire complexities of everything in Live2D. Like, I'm always learning something new every single day. There is a dedicated Live2D Discord where people are always sharing new techniques and information. And sometimes I like to go there for inspiration. There's a lot of people, even on Twitter/X, who share amazing tips as well to do all of this. Honestly, the Live2D community is amazing. And everyone's really helpful too, because we all started somewhere with this. Plus, with all the new AI tools to kind of make things a little bit faster for us, it is so beginner friendly now compared to before. So you see how I keep clicking the change button? I'm just making sure like these are on the correct parameters. And it's okay if you don't have Discord or Twitter. There's a lot of tutorials on YouTube as well, besides just mine. I remember back in the day when I first started learning Live2D Cubism, I used to watch this one YouTuber called Yoshino Art. She still makes tutorials. She's a wonderful Live2D modeler, and she has taught me a lot of like what I know now. And I know she has her own Live2D courses as well. So I highly recommend checking out her channel. Her videos are a little like dated with the technology for Live2D because it's 3 years old, but she's got some newer ones out there too. And there are other YouTubers who constantly make tutorials on this application. And I'm almost done changing these. As you can see, I could have done this a little bit faster if I had selected everything, but I felt like I wasn't selecting, like some parts were just not correct. So I like to be very thorough.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I will say this, now that we have moved all of the right eye elements to the correct parameters, guess what we have to do now? Physics.
What? Ah, physics.
Specifically,
Okay.
you see how all these physics stuff is connected to the left side? We have to duplicate these now for the right side.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy. We just duplicate each physics group, rename it, change the input from the left eye to the right eye, and then go to the output and change it from the left parameter to the right parameter. It's very easy. Just, again, take your time. So that way you don't accidentally select the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is the last one. And that is it. We have done the oh, hold on, wait, what the?
Oh.
I think I forgot to delete the iris from the other eye.
Oh no.
So I gotta find out. Give me 1 second here. Where are you?
Where are you?
I'm gonna delete it. This is why naming things is very important. Yeah, okay, yep, I see it. I see it. Oh, wait a minute. I'm so silly. I can look in my parts palette here. Well, actually, wait, hold on. No, the clipping ID matches. Okay. Just want to make sure I'm not deleting the wrong iris. Yeah. I've been looking at this application all day. I might be having a brain fart. Okay, yeah, no.
It's okay.
Okay, I did it. I forgot I can look at the parts palette and just see the extra eyeball. Yay! We did all of the eye physics stuff. Now,
Yay!
in the previous lesson, I had said when we had done our hip sway, I was going to work with the glue. So now, what we're going to do is add glue to our legs and fix the hips a little bit, and then add the breathing parameter, and then we were all done for this lesson. Yeah, you see how the legs are broken a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're gonna have to glue that. Yeah, we're gonna have to glue that a little bit. All right, so glue. I will try my best to explain this, but just follow along with me to kind of see what I'm doing. The way glue works is we have to mess with the meshes, the actual art mesh, because the way glue works is you basically have to have the same exact art mesh with two different elements, and then you take those art meshes and you bind them. That's how you technically glue it together. So these vertices here that you see, the little points and the triangles, they have to be the exact same for the two different meshes you want to combine. Because glue will only combine the vertices that are lined up the exact same way. And what's nice about that is that means you don't have to glue the entire parts. You only have to glue just certain elements of it, so that way those pieces stick together. So I'm just going to be using like a variety of like the lasso tool and messing with the vertices. This is going to take me some time. I'm just going to say that now because gluing is a lot of fine tuning. So just follow along with me as I do this.
Okay.
Try your best to copy what I'm doing, but it's okay if it doesn't look exactly like this.
Yeah.
You discovered my YouTube channel a few weeks ago and you've been watching the videos. Really? I haven't, so I do have two YouTube channels for everybody watching. I have my Yume channel where I do a lot of like tutorials and guides like this for aspiring VTubers. And I also do a series called Mari Monday where people can submit questions to my marshmallow and I answer them. Also, if you're like a YouTube member on my Yume channel, you get like priority for like questions for the Mari Monday stuff. And yeah, I just kind of talk about my virtual life basically. I need to have you on one of my virtual life podcast episodes, my Cora, like one of these days.
Ooh, that would be really fun.
I don't know what we would want to talk. We could honestly talk about anything. Basically, like the My Virtual Life podcast is just I bring on a VTuber and we just talk about our virtual life. Basically what it's like being a VTuber, the stuff that people aren't like able to talk about like on their main channels. So it's a little fourth wall breaky sometimes, but sometimes people need like a space like that, and I'm happy to provide that. I'm actually going to, if you noticed here, I made the art mesh a little bit more heavy because I want it to be a little more precise, I think. Because otherwise, when it's like really big like this, that means it's going to take extra chunks of the leg, and I don't really want that, so... Yeah, I'm just gonna do our best here. Gonna auto connect these. And just make sure that like when you are messing with your art mesh, you don't leave any parts of your art, so to say, to be open, because otherwise when you press OK for the mesh edits here, that whatever is not covered by your polygons is going to disappear. So you don't want to mess that up. Take your time with this. Okay, so now I want to copy the mesh on this leg here and paste it to the other leg. There we go. So now the meshes are the same. And now if we had done the glue in the previous lesson, I wouldn't have to worry about adding glue to both legs because we would have done the copy and pasted method, but it's fine. It can be done anyway. That's the beauty of Live2D, is that there's not like a right way to do it. There's just an efficient way and then a not so efficient way. Okay, so now... Okay, so the way we're gonna do the glue, when you want to glue things together, you have to make sure you have the two objects that you want to glue together. You have to select both of them and then go into the art mesh layer. So you see how both of those showed up? And I was able to wrap around and click the bind button. That's how you have to glue it. So you have to make sure you select the one piece and the leg, go into art mesh. I'm gonna use the lasso tool. I'm gonna come grab all of these vertices here and click bind. And just like that, it's glued together.
Ooh.
And that's basically how glue works. Now, here's the, like, I'm actually gonna copy this and connect to the body piece as well. Because the body is also kind of connected to like the neck. Oh, you see that? I forgot that the body has an extra piece of layer here that I have to now... Okay, we can fix this. We can fix that. We can fix her. The body, put this in here, and then connect the points and just add more. Just add more points here. Press OK. There we go. It's back. There we go. All right, so we have that glued all together now. So now this is where the fun part comes in for glue, and this is why people hate glue. Okay, do you see how it's breaking the legs? That is because our glue is too strong.
Sorry, I had to sneeze. Yes,
That's
I
okay.
see.
It's okay. Our glue is way too strong here from the leg to the one piece. And this, what we basically have to do is we have to edit the glue and kind of mess around with those points that are connected. So you have like these little brushes here, and basically I could have done a couple different things. One, I could have made the actual polygons more refined, but for time constraints of today's lesson, I'm just gonna kind of manipulate the vertices that we have connected right now. And you see how like the one piece is red and the leg is green? When you click on the buttons up here, if I click on the green, it's gonna give more priority to the leg. Whereas if I click the red one, it'll give more priority to the one piece. And then when I click the yellow, it binds those vertices together. Whereas the button that has the green and the red, it kind of pushes them apart. It like unglues it, so to say. So you basically just kind of have to mess around with this until it looks right. And here's the one thing I don't like about glue is that you can't glue keyframes. So you know how like when I move my body around, I'm still adjusting the glue? That doesn't change on the keyframe. It's not like if we move the hip back, it goes back to the other way I had glued it. No, once the way you glue it, it stays like that no matter what. It doesn't matter what keyframe you're on.
Oh.
So glue, when you're using it, it's a very useful tool, but it's not something that you can rely on 100%. Like it takes a lot of just fine tuning just to get it right. And you have to combine gluing and deforming, because deforming, like the warp deformers and stuff, and everything else that we've been doing, it does affect the deformation on the keyframe. Like I said, glue does not. Yeah, this is gonna be a lot of fine tuning. Don't worry, I'm probably gonna spend like at most 10 minutes on this just to kind of fine tune it a bit, and then I'll be done, because you basically understand the concepts of this, and that's what I want. And the only thing that we have left after this is the breathing parameter, which will take like literally 2 seconds. So I'll just fine tune this a little bit, and then we'll stop. This takes a lot of patience, I will say. People who are masters at glue, I aspire to be like you one day. You have way more patience, way more brain cells than I do. Yeah. Being a Live2D modeler in general is definitely a pain. It is true. It is very true. I'm just trying to double check to make sure. Because glue affects every single parameter that is moving those elements. So yeah, I see right here body Z is a little wonky now because of the glue that we had done with it. So I think I have to warp body Z just a little bit here. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have to adjust this. That's okay. It's a patient, like, it takes patience. It's a process. You'll stick to your Vroids. I will say, I feel like Vroid Studio also takes a lot of patience as well. I feel like no matter what application that you're using, because there's a lot of applications out there, every application has its learning curve. Okay, that's starting to get a little better. Okay. All right, we're cooking. We're cooking. I'll do just a little bit more fine-tuning. Yeah, okay. Maybe I glued a little bit of too much of the one piece. I'm gonna redo this just a little bit because I want it to be a bit more finer. Sometimes just having extra vertices and making them smaller will help with the effect a little bit. Because again, if it's like really, if it's too big of a chunk, it deforms it a lot. Some people like to make their own custom meshes for this too. And that can, it's very time consuming, but it can be worth it. And that is, again, why it costs so much money to get a very beautiful model.
Mm-hmm.
And this one's just a simple model too. I feel like goodness, if I knew how long it's taken us to do, if we combined all the lessons, like all 5 lessons, we're probably at, let's see. Maybe around the 8-hour mark. So if you think about it, the only thing that we really haven't done is the breathing parameter and then the mouth. But everything that we have done so far, in like 8 hours, you have a really nice chibi model. That's
Coming along, very nice.
Yeah. It's honestly not bad. Yeah, okay. All right, starting to get there now. Looks like the body in one piece is starting to connect a little bit. Okay, I have a little bit of a trick. I have an idea.
Okay.
Option 1 is to not connect these anymore. Option 2 is maybe I mess with the draw order. Yeah, I see a little bit of clipping here. Oh, that's because one of the vertices isn't connected. Huh? How did that happen? Okay, there we go. It's back. Oh, I've been staring at it. Just gonna fix the glue here a little bit. Oh, that's the wrong one. Yeah, sometimes the glue, you just kind of have to mess around with it and just be patient with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, I'm almost done with this. See how that looks? Honestly, doesn't look that bad.
Ooh.
Yeah, doesn't look that bad. Glue makes it so much more fluid. And then this is my other trick. I'm just gonna move it down, like the actual body. I'm gonna move that down by 1 draw order, and that should fix that weird line that was happening. Yeah! Oh, that looks so much better. Yes! Oh, I like that. Just gonna fix that a little bit. But this is pretty much done. All right. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. And just like that, we now have our hips sway and our eyes and our body physics. So all that's left now is just to make the breathing parameter. So let me see here. All right. The final stretch, my core. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I just look for wiggle. Wiggle, I like it. It's so cool. All right. I'm going to save that and open up a new project file now. And all right. Get the new project up, and now we can do our breathing parameter. And luckily for us, in an earlier lesson, we had made our breathing container. So all we got to do is just click on the breath deformer. We go to the body parameter palette. We click on breath. And this is super fast and easy. You just click on the 2 keyframes, because this basically means off and on. And again, very small movement, so we toggle it on. There's a couple different ways we could do breath. It depends on how exaggerated of a breathing you want to do. I like to be very subtle, personally. So I'm going to increase the number of conversion divisions here. And now when you're breathing, you go deep breath in, Exhale. Your chest expands and your shoulders kind of go up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm going to try to replicate here. So I'm going to take the deform brush, and on this keyframe, I'm just going to hold shift and move up slightly. Hold shift and move up slightly. And now I'm going to zoom in, make this smaller. I'm going to make chest move out just ever so slightly. I don't want to do it too much. Can add just a little bit here. A little tiny bit. I think that looks okay. And what's really cool about the breath parameter is that it's already set up in the physics window. So if we go to the physics settings, look at that, she's breathing.
Ooh.
And you see how it's very subtle?
Mm-hmm.
Because I kind of like subtle breathing. Some people make it more exaggerated. Personally, for me, I like it more subtle. And what's really nice about the breathing parameter is that you can connect other things to it too. You can connect, like if you have a tail, you can have like a little idle animation for like a tail swinging. Another cool thing you can do with physics is everyone keeps commenting about how cute it is that my ears wiggle every time I blink. That's something that you can connect in the physics settings.
Oh.
So the little ear wiggles are connected to my eye blinks, where the input would be eye blinking and the output would be the little ear wiggle. And that is physics, everybody. That is, like, look how much movement we have with Base-chan.
She's moving.
Yeah, and we could have done stuff with the arms. We're a little bit tight on time today, but the fact that we can do all of this stuff, it's amazing, like, what you can do with the power of Live2D.
Mm-hmm.
And now I will save that. And yeah, that is everything for today. So you did it. You have finished rigging the basics.
Yeah.
All that is left technically for this model to be completed is the mouth, and then just exporting it into and setting it up in VTuber Studio. But yeah, that is it. Thank you everyone so much for watching. I'd like to give a big shout out to Live2D Cubism for sponsoring today's stream. This is all the links to everything that's been used in today's lessons. Please follow my wonderful student, Cora. She's an amazing student. I'm so happy to teach her so much.
Thank you.
You've been working so hard on this. You really have.
It's been a lot, but I've had a lot of fun as well.
I'm glad. I also would like to say thank you so much, Leon, for gifting 5 T1 subs, and then Valorant gifting that additional sub. I appreciate you all so much. Like, thank you all so much for sticking with us for these lessons. That is going to be it for today. It's been a very long streams. I need a break now, and so does Cora. So, any last words you'd like to say, Cora?
Avocado. That is my word.
Avocado for the stream, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching, everyone. I'll see you all again next time. And remember, everything reminds you of something. Bye, everybody.